Hello everyone. First of all, I would like to say welcome for everyone. My name is Hakan. I am working for Mavili Electronic Company, and today I'm going to talk about scope of protection in fire detection projects. In this presentation, we will talk about the scope of protection in fire detection projects. The first step in designing of fire detection and alarm system in the building you are designing should be to assess the need for early fire detection in the building. In this context, we will first examine the determining factors by considering the provisions of the EN 54 standard for the protection of certain parts or the whole building. In the relevant standard, we will convey information about which parts of the building should be protected or where the areas where protection is not mandatory are. We will talk about EN 54 standards and the parts of the building that need to be protected, protection scope, description of the scope, total protection, partition protection, escape route protection, local protection, equipment protection, areas that do not need to be protected. Protection scope. The parts of the building to be protected and the types of the systems to be installed can be determined by a third party such as the component authority or insurance company. In cases where the scope of the system is not specified by the third party or when a more comprehensive system is desired to be established, the following points should be taken into account when evaluating the risk in which area: possibility of ignition, the possibility of the fire to spread inside the starting chamber, the possibility of the fire spreading out of the starting chamber, the consequences of the fire, including death, injury, loss of property, and environmental damage, presence of other fire protection measures, description of the scope. The scope of protection can be explained as follows: total protection, protection of all parts of the building; compartment protection, protection of one or more fire compartments within the building; escape route protection, protection of escape routes to ensure that escape routes can be used before they are covered with fire or smoke; local protection, protection of a certain device or function, escape routes, except escape routes, inside the building that does not need to form an entire fire compartment; equipment protection, protection of a particular device or equipment; manual fire detection system, a fire detection system triggered only by manual call points. Total protection. The total protection system is an automatic fire detection system that covers all the volumes inside the building except those that this manual specifically exemptions, areas that do not need to be protected. Compartment protection. The partition protection system is an automatic fire detection system that covers only certain parts of the building. The boundaries of a compartment protection system should be the boundaries of the fire compartment. The protection within these limits should be the same as that of the total protection system. If a partial protection system is to be used, the parts of the building to be protected should be specified in the documentation. Documents covering the fire alarm reaction strategy for the building and general conditions for the installed system should be prepared. Escape route protection, a system that only protects the escape routes is intended to give people a timely fire alarm to escape before the escape routes are covered by smoke and heat. Such systems should not expected to protect people who may be in the room that is source of the fire. Local protection. Local protection can be used to protect certain functions, special devices, and high-risk areas. The local protection area does not have to be isolated. It can be contained within the total protection or partition protection, but it can have a higher level of protection than the general protection. Higher level of protection than the general protection. Local protection can provide good protection against fire that start within the protected area on their own, but for fires that start outside this area, the protection effect is minimal or absent. Equipment protection. Equipment protection provides protection against fire starting inside certain equipment. Detectors that provide equipment protection are often housed inside the equipment enclosure so that they can detect a fire earlier than general detectors. As with local protection, equipment protection can provide good protection against fire that start within this protected area on their own, but for fires starting outside, there is an area has little or no protection effects. Areas that do not need to be protected unless special conditions exist. Some areas may be considered to be too low to protect it from fire. Areas that do not require protection with automatic detection may include non-ventilated frozen food stores with gross volumes below 20 meter cube, bathrooms, shower rooms, toilets, or water closets, provided that they are not used for the storage for flammable materials or garbage. Vertical shafts or vertical cable ducts with cross-sectional areas smaller than 2 meters square contains suitable fire protection and B2K cables containing the fire performance class EN50 standards, provided that they are protected against fire, provided that they may through the floor and ceiling or walls and or are stopped. If the cables related to the emergency system are passing through these shafts or ducts, these cables endure the fire for at least 30 minutes. If the shafts or channels contain the cable for the fire detection and alarm system, the shaft or channel must be monitored by automatic detectors. Roofless loading base. Roofed loading base if protected by sprinkler system. Gaps including underfloor and overhead gaps should be protected with detectors only in the following cases. First, if the fire is likely to have the widespread of fire or smoke outside the relevant space before it is detected by detectors outside the space. Second, if a fire in the space is likely to damage the emergency system cables before the fire is detected. The following gaps: first, without the fire density of more than 25 megajoule in 1 meter square of combustible material. And second, containing cables related to emergency system with no fire load density of more than 15 megajoule and 1 meter square of combustible material. Independent detector protection is not required. So let's summarize the presentation. As a result, the fire detection and alarm system is related to the building you are planning. If any related authority, administration, user, etc., you must request the scope of protection with the fire consultant and the insurance company. If the scope of protection is not specified to you in writing, then you need to decide on your design for early detection of fire, except for areas that do not need to be protected in the light of risk assessment information. The relevant authority, administration, user, etc. If the protection scope is not communicated to the project owner in writing with the fire consultant and the insurance company, and there is a deficiency in the protection scope of the project, project owners are held responsible. Thank you for your participation. If you have any question, you can send an email to export@mavili.com.tr. Also, please follow us from Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube with Mavili Electronic Global account.